Friends, did you know that over 60% of your first-time clients are never coming back to your business again? They are going to your competition. That is so painful, and it doesn't have to be that way. That's where Maya comes in. Maya is the ultimate marketing software for the beauty and wellness industry. We have a proprietary funnel utilizing special algorithms to help connect the right consumers with the right providers at your business. So what does this mean? This means Maya helps you get higher spending clients you love to work with who stay the long haul. If you want to increase your revenue, increase your client count, increase your average ticket, and increase your new client retention, then you need Maya. Go to the link in our show notes to get your demo of Maya set up. Or go to joinmaya, that's MYA.com, joinmaya.com, and see why over 500,000 consumers have trusted Maya and the businesses that we work with to find their perfect beauty and wellness pro. We have your back, we always will, and we promise you will love Maya. Thank you for joining me. This is Katie Whitledge with the Beyond the Technique podcast. You guys, I have a first-time guest here. He's going to be one of the main stage keynote speakers at this upcoming data-driven. I know that you are planning on going. If you're not, you're missing out. It is one of the best events for salon owners, their leadership teams. I promise you, if you want to level up, you have to be at that event. You need to go to the link in our show notes to check it out. I'll be there as well. It's going to be the best. Justin Gold is here, and he is the founder and CEO of multiple businesses, Rise Coaching and Consulting, The Changing Room, Easy Rack USA, Loba Essentials, hopefully I said that right, MNG Global. He has over 15 years of experience. Justin has successfully led businesses to reach their full potential, raising multiple salons to award-winning status, including being featured as a salon today's a top 200 salon. How many of you are listening who are going to be at that dinner? Oh my gosh, we're going to have so much fun. As a national business educator for Matrix, Justin is passionate about helping salon owners, beauty professionals, and entrepreneurs break through growth plateaus, systematize success, and build winning teams. His leadership and coaching have been instrumental in transforming salons and businesses. And today, not only we're going to get to know him, we're going to help you all and with your teams figure out how to become a six-figure booker. This is all strategic and from a really unique perspective of somebody who isn't necessarily behind the chair. And can't we always learn new, incredible things outside of our industry, even though he's technically now in our industry? Well, let's learn more about that. Without further ado, help me welcome Justin Gold. Welcome to Beyond the Technique.
Thank you. Thank you so much for being here. It's an honor. It's a pleasure. And I wouldn't want to be anywhere else doing anything else right now. So thank you.
So before we started talking, Justin looks so handsome and he's freshly dressed. I had to level it up. Like I literally changed while him and I were on a Zoom because I was like, wait, you look too good. I got to look a little bit better than what I look like right now. And you have to go watch today's show. Like if you are listening today, go to the link in our show notes and you can see the faces behind the names by watching today's episode on our YouTube channel. It's there for you. But I just appreciate that. A well-dressed man, I really appreciate. Justin, I want to get to know you. So you're now in the beauty industry, but you have a corporate American background. Tell us a bit about your journey and like what led to you landing somehow in this beauty industry.
Thank you. Great question. So it's funny how life works, right? You never really know where you're going to connect the dots moving forward, but sometimes when you pause and you look backwards, it all kind of makes sense and fell into place. Mom and dad were hairdressers. And so we started in England. We're all immigrants. I have a British passport. I don't have the sexy English accent. I'm sorry. But my mom and dad do. And so they learned from the School of Hard Knocks. You know, they started behind the chair. And growing up, they were working in the business because they were both behind the chair 6-7 days a week. And the only time they were able to work on the business, which is a big distinction, is at the dinner table. And we had dinner every single night, 7 o'clock, non-negotiable at the dinner table. And they talked a lot about business, employees and coworkers and everything. And so I learned um, throughout my journey growing up under my parents, their goal for me was to go to college. I'm the first one in my family to go to college. So I went to Florida State, I had a full academic ride. And I got a degree in finance, a degree in entrepreneurship and small business management. So I have two business degrees from college. I went into the corporate world, Northwestern Mutual Financial Network. I did all these different things. I went on a different journey. I ended up in LA at one point. I was like a GM at Abercrombie, second largest store in the nation. I was a professional break dancer. I can dance. I'm one of the few straight white guys who can dance. So
I
I
hope
was a
that's part of your keynote.
well, that's what people have been asking me. So I used to be a b-boy. I used to teach breaks in LA, and then, I got that phone call. Hopefully, if you have a good relationship with your family, they put food on the table, they put clothes on your back, and then one day you got to take care of them. And that one day for me was about 18 years. Mom took ill. She ended up in hospital. And so, my parents had three salons at one point. We sold one, merged two, and they needed some help. So I came back temporarily to figure out what I want to be when I grow up. Well, temporarily turned into 18 years, five companies, and I saw an opportunity. I got resistance when I first came in, Katie, that like, oh, you're not a hairdresser. What do you know? And I used to fight it. Well, my mom and my dad, and I do know. And then finally one day I was like, you're right. I don't know. I know business. You do hair. And together we will elevate the industry. And that's what happened. I implemented systems, procedures, core values, mission statement, a lot of things that I coach. And by doing that, we elevated it. One other key part that I want to talk about is my mom and dad used to sell haircuts and hair color. I came in and shifted perspective. We now sell an experience, and an experience will elevate your business to the next level. And so by shifting that perspective and building a team around selling an experience, that has helped grow our salon and being able to me now coach others. So and it was kind of inevitable, I guess, that it was just going to be mine eventually. I never thought I was going to be in it, but I finally figured out when I want to be grow up and when I want to be when I grew up, and that's to help others be the best version of themselves. And that's why I'm here now with you. So
Oh my gosh, what an incredible story. Well,
And that was just that was a little piece. There's actually more of the
oh,
different journey, but I
always,
want to save time. So
always. Well, I pray your mom is okay and that
yes,
everything
yes, yeah, yeah. She's good.
is
She has a health condition that's it's not but she's still here with us and stuff. And she was able to retire because I came in, and my dad's also retired, so I just run the company now. So
incredible. Okay, and so really, this is something you kind of grew up seeing. You were able to really bridge the gap between both worlds.
mhm.
Um, I want to not overlook how cool it is that you got a full ride scholarship
Thank you.
because many of us in the industry didn't even go to college, and we almost wear it as a badge of like, hey, we're untraditional and we're so successful, but there is a lot to be said for people that really put their head down, grind it out, and get to an academic level. Like, I just want to applaud that
Thank
because
you.
one of those things in the past I wish like, we're all like, we were capable of it, but we didn't make good choices. But you did, and I think that sometimes we gloss over that, and I wanted to just acknowledge that that's really freaking awesome and not easy
Thank
to
you.
do. So,
Thank you
okay,
very
so
much.
all these years later, you're so passionate to help industry professionals,
Mm.
and why is it that you feel called to really the coaching and consulting aspect outside of like having, because you could just be running your salon, doing all your other business. You have so many businesses, right? What
Mm.
made you want to like get into the side where you actually coach and consult?
So there's one little piece of the pie that I left out, I guess. Um, there was my mom, my dad, my sister, and myself. Very small family. And my sister is mentally and physically challenged. She was. She passed away a couple years ago. And she was my big sister. So I don't know if I can show you a little picture real quick. Is that okay? Can I do that?
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
So that's mom and dad and my sister.
Hers.
You can see
Yeah.
she was 3 years elder, and see how tiny she was.
Yeah.
So
Beautiful.
my sister is created me because my whole world was giving and helping and supporting. And I guess my calling was to help others to be the best version of themselves because my whole life was helping my sister, encouraging her to, we took her skiing, we took her, snowboarding, we took her all these, she had an amazing life. And so my whole world, because she was my big sister, was helping and giving and supporting and loving and sharing and encouraging. And that was inevitable for my destiny to be here. And when I came into the beauty industry, because I learned it, I was able to help my own salon, but now I'm able to help others because that's what I'm called to do and what I'm supposed to do. And I get so passionate about it. Like I get really intense, but I just want to give all my knowledge and help everyone. And what I love about our industry is that we make people feel beautiful. And when you make them feel beautiful on the outside, you get to make them feel beautiful on the inside. And we have such power. And, thankfully, touch wood, not yet. AI is not going to take over our industry, hopefully anytime soon, and human connection. So there's so much honor and service. And if I can help others serve more to their client base and their network, then that's what I'm supposed to do. So that's where it comes from. Thank you for asking that question. It's my sister. I love my sister. I miss my sister, and she made me who I am. So I'm very honored to have a special needs sister, and I would never have had anything different.
Well, I'm sorry that she is no longer with us. She is the cutest
Thank,
girl. I
thank you.
hope people watch this and see that. And what a gift. Like it's that gift you don't realize is such a gift. And you grew up just having that servant heart,
Mm.
which is translated into servant leadership. And I know that one of the topics you're passionate about is leadership. I know we're not speaking on that today, but if we were going to share like just one thing that you think matters the most when it comes to be the best possible salon leader for your team, what would that be for you?
Empathy.
Mm.
We we want our teams to be successful, and we look at the numbers, and we're in charge of paying the bills, and we want to make sure they show up on time and do the job and sell the retail. But at the end of the day, there's our team is humans, and we have to see them as a human and not as a number. And when we need to learn to put ourselves in their shoes, and it's easy to say, why are you late, why are you late? So one of the first questions I ask any team member that I have to reprimand or sit down is, how is so and so doing? Not how are you doing, how is Katie doing? Because what happens is when you ask it in that context, it allows them to self-reflect on, how is Justin doing? And sometimes they'll tell you an answer that kind of almost justifies the challenge of what we're going to talk to about being late. And you don't know what's really going on. And when you can put yourself in their shoes, you come with a different approach of leadership, and you can empower them while reprimanding them to make them be the best version of themselves. So empathy is crucial for strong leadership.
Curious as we dive into really being a six-figure booker, is empathy going to play a role in that piece of the puzzle? I know that you have strategies behind it, and it is not about the numbers. So you have that foundation in place, but then how does that translate into helping your team get these kind of results? Because being a six-figure pro is so much more attainable than it's ever been. Yet we're seeing kind of a shift where, because competition is so much more than it used to be, salons are competing now a lot with the individual pros who have very sexy social media platforms, marketing in place. They get it, they're savvy. And so it makes it maybe even more challenging to grow up your team
Yes.
and help them achieve their financial success. So, how do we bridge that gap between being this awesome, empathetic leader and helping them actually achieve financial success behind the chair? Where do we start with getting them to be a six-figure booker? And maybe like first define, what does that mean to you, being a
Okay.
six-figure booker?
So, okay. So what is a six-figure booker? That means technically that in a calendar year, you book over $100,000. And why is that the benchmark of success? I'm not sure. I'm going to be completely transparent. Over the 18 years I've been in the industry full on, I don't know, but I think that's a great number to try to reach for. In my salon, I have six-figure bookers, and that means they're booking over 100,000. It doesn't necessarily mean they're bringing home 100,000. However, two of my team members are bringing home over 100,000 in their pocket, which is a lot for being a hairdresser. So what I've been able to do is I've studied, right, being very analytical, mathematical, right? I sat on the sidelines because I'm not behind the chair. I've been able to study my team and why are some people successful and why other ones aren't. Now they're individual and they're not the same person. They're not cookie cutouts, but they have the same six key attributes, which we'll discuss in a second. So what it is that if we as leaders can hire first and foremost the right people for our team. We may be the most shiny, amazing, delicious, perfect apple in the world, but it's somebody who just doesn't like fruit. And so they may not be the best person for us. And so we have to make sure that we're hiring the right people and getting them in the right seats, making sure they're rowing the boat in the same direction. How do we do that? Is core values. I hire based on core values, the best of my ability. We hire and we fire based on core values beyond the money aspect. And when you hire based on the core values, you're already trying to bring on the right team members that are going to be rowing the boat in the same direction. They need some tools and some coaching as leaders, which I'll give you in a moment. So how do we start off? It's what is six figure? It's booking 100,000. What are the key attributes for that? I'm going to share that with you. But then making sure you're trying to hire the right people. It's not show me your skills, right? Because skills can be developed and taught, which is important. But are you a good fit? It's like dating. You have to make sure that you have the aligned values that align with your company and your culture. And if they don't, there's nothing wrong against that person. They're just not a right fit. There's no one's bad. They're just not the right person for your organization. So first and foremost, to be able to coach someone, they need to be coachable. And we need to find someone who's passionate, who's open to learning. And then as leaders, we need to give them the tools. And these are the tools. I do business classes, but really they're not numbers. They're really the attributes and the psychology and a lot of things that they don't teach you in beauty school. Because in beauty school, they teach you technical aspects. We need to teach our team beyond that. What does that look like? What kind of conversation are we having in consultations, right? That's very important. How we're speaking to the guests, how we're educating the guests. So, sorry.
Love it. No, I think it's
Okay, okay,
awesome. And
okay.
when you said it's like dating, I literally couldn't agree more. That's like
Yes.
absolutely the premise of our software company, Maya. So like 100% agree with that. So yeah, let's dive in. What are those 6 attributes that help lead a stylist to be a six-figure booker?
So I like to think that they're all interchangeable, number 2 through 6, except for number 1. Number 1 is important, and it's attitude. We talk about it all the time, but I literally this morning I was teaching a class at one of my local schools. I gave them 2 hours of my time. I like to give back and help. And I don't know everything, but you can already see the ones that are taking notes, that are asking questions. Those are the people I want on my team. Yeah, there you
Taking
go. I
notes.
love it. I love it. I'm very, very adamant about taking notes in classes. And when you're listening to this podcast or you're listening to YouTube video, you're listening to whatever that is, taking notes really, really matter, because even if you throw the notebook away or the notes, you've retained 70% of it more because you're writing it down, because your mind has to think about the words and the letters and the sentences that you're creating, and you're reiterating to yourself the knowledge that you're receiving. Okay. So first and foremost, attitude. Attitude determines everything of who we are, how we show up, our mindset, etc. So I'm going to list the 6, and then we can, maybe if we have time, we'll dive into them a little bit quicker. Okay. So we've got attitude, presentation, right? I wear suits almost every single day. I have a wardrobe of different suits, right? I like my suits. It's just kind of something I choose to do. It's funny, when I was in Northwestern Mutual, they made me wear suits every day, and I hated it because they made me do it. It's funny how when you get older, you kind of what you get to choose to do versus have to do, right? It's like when you're
Yeah,
a kid, oh, you got to take a nap. Now I wish I could take a
love
nap,
it.
right?
Yeah.
Funny how things go, right? Presentations matter. We're in the beauty industry, right? And you can be your own unique, beautiful self. We have all different hair colors, piercings, tattoos. It's all welcome, but you know if you're showing up or you're not showing up to your full self, right? Presentation. Being on time. Being on time. I don't know where you are in the world listening to this, but in South Florida, being on time is a big challenge, and is an excuse, is like I'm on Latin time, which is not, I'm not trying to stereotype, but that's just the conversation. Being on time matters. Communication. How are we communicating to our guests? Communication, I like to have is like 2 subsections, which comes down to consultation and education, right? So how we are communicating is the main topic. Then you have consistency. We have to consistently develop. Oh my gosh, let me try that again. We need to consistently deliver an experience, which I want to talk about in 1 second, real quick. And then, last and foremost, number 6 is you have to have some skills, right? We have to continue to develop our skills. You have to be a good technician. You need to know how to correct colors, and you make an error, or if they say, no, I don't have box dye, and then you go to lift their color, and they're like, wait a minute, like, well, one time a long time ago, you're like, oh my gosh, you're killing me, right? So those are the 6 key attributes. One thing I want to mention, which is a little side note, which is very, very important, is that we sell 3 things in this industry. 3. We sell ourselves, we sell time, and we sell an experience. We sell ourselves every single day. because the guests are coming to see you. You may not give the best haircut every single time, but if they have a great experience with you, they're going to want to come back. We sell time because we only allotted so much time in the day. So you have to make sure that you are charging accurately and correctly for the time that you're giving, and that we can't be late for our guests, but we can't allow our guests to be late for us either, because then it minimizes the experience that we can offer them. So those are the three things that we sell. Mind you, I did not say we sell retail. We don't sell retail, we tell retail. I changed the word from S to T. We just tell instead of sell. That's a whole nother, like I said, I have so many classes that I could teach. And Katie, you and I could definitely, we could have tons of these together. So let's get back to the six key attributes. Attitude. What does that mean? It's not just showing up, it's how you show up. You have to keep me on track with time because I know I can talk. So attitude, how we show up. You have to realize, or we have to realize in this industry, that it's a career and not a job. A job is the mentality of, I'm late, who cares? They fire me, I'll go to another job. This is a career where we have an opportunity to serve people, and we have to build our book, and we have to invest in our guests, and we have to make sure that we take them as a priority. And whether you're in school, whether you're a first year, whether you're 5 years, whether you've been doing it for 20 years, we have to make sure that we show up for our guests in our full, authentic self, and we're ready to give them our all every single day. Every guest is your VIP, whether you have one guest in the book or you have 10 guests in the book. They all are your VIP guests. That's how we're showing up, and it's our career. Also, your attitude to your approach of taking care of yourself. If we can't take care of ourselves, and we're not investing in our health and our wellness, which a lot of we don't talk enough about in this industry, then how can we service our guests? If you have a full book and you're not taking care of yourself, yes, we're going to get sick, but are we taking our vitamins? Are we eating healthy? Are we drinking enough water? Right? Are we showing up for our guests because we're taking care of ourselves? You can't pour from an empty cup, so you have to take care of you first. That's having the right approach and the right attitude. Another thing about attitude is 80-20 rule. 80% of the conversation should be about our guest. 20% should be about you. Our guests are coming to see us to vent and how these problems. They're not here to listen to all our problems and all our BS that happens in our life, right?
Right.
So 80-20 is making it about the guests. Make sure you're friendly with your guests, but not friends with your guests, because that that blurs lines and it can cause problems over time. Quick side note. I want to give a shout out to one of my old coworkers. I don't call them employees because I do employ them, but they're my coworkers. We do it together. I'm not the boss. I'm just the coach, right? And one of my coworkers came to me once and she's like, "Boss," she calls me. She used to call me boss out of respect. And boss, I need to talk to you. So she came and sat in my office. She told me problems. She was having some tears and crying. And I said, "Are you okay? Do you need to go home?" Because she had some problems. She said, "No, I'll be okay. I'll be okay. My guest, I have a full book." So she went in the bathroom and I didn't think anything of it. She's this Latina, right? And so she comes out of the bathroom and I hear, "Hey, how are you?" Like really loud, right? And I'm like, "Oh my gosh, what happened?" She was just crying in my office, right? So she goes out, she has a full day. And after the end of the day, I'm like, "Come on in. I have a quick question for you. Are you doing okay?" "Yes, boss. Thanks for listening to me. It means a lot." I'm like, "What happened earlier?" She goes, "What do you mean what happened?" I'm like, "You were crying and she said, "Justin, I went in the bathroom. I wiped my tears. I put on some lipstick and it's showtime. I'm here to service my guest and they don't deserve to hear about my problems." That stuck with me for many, many
Wow.
years. It's her right approach and her attitude on showing up, right? And so that's one key note about attitude. I can
Love it.
dive a little deeper, but yes. Number two, presentation. Oh, can I keep going?
Please
Yep.
do.
Okay. Presentation. Obviously, I wear these suits. I get a lot of compliments on my suits. Thank you, Katie, for saying that nice compliment earlier. But I choose to wear these suits, right? And because I understand and I appreciate, you need to address as you want to be addressed. And in our industry, when you are a cosmetologist or a barber, we need to look the part. And for us looking the part, our hair and makeup should be done all the time because we're a walking billboard, right? We should be selling ourselves to whoever's going to listen. You go to Publix or you go to Kroger or wherever you are, and someone says, "Oh, I love your hair. Great. I'm a hairdresser. Come see me. Here's my card. Here's my Instagram." We should be selling ourselves all the time. We are a walking billboard. And we need to represent ourselves in our industry and our team. So presentation matters. Now, I had one stylist. She's now my manager and educator. So we have a training assistant program. They grow with us. When she was first started at level one, she's very technically skilled. And she didn't always make her hair and makeup. And I would say, "Hey, look, we need to work on your hair and makeup presentation." And she said, "Justin, respectfully, the way I look doesn't affect my results," which she was technically kind of right. But I said, "Respectfully, you may be right. However, in order to elevate and be seen as a professional, we need to look the part." She shifted. I finally was able to help her understand that, she grew rapidly. Because this is what happens, Katie. When someone comes into the salon as a walk-in and they say, hey, I'd like to get a blow dry, the guest, right? Say, well, who's available? Well, we have Stephanie and we have Chris Mel available. And they go, which one's Stephanie? And you say, oh, she's the third one down at the end. And they go, and they look the stylist up and down to determine, is that person a professional to be able to do my hair? We need to present ourselves every single day. So that's number two.
Can I add to that if you don't mind?
Please. No, please, please, please.
Because,
I don't want to keep
the
talking.
likelihood of a walk-in being able to eye somebody up prior to meeting them is lesser than, but here's the real issue is when, social media is the highlight reel for all of us.
Mm-hmm.
So if we're putting ourselves out as the best version of ourselves on social or even our headshot on the website underneath the team page for the salon, and then the
Mm-hmm.
guest comes in and there is a disconnect between who they thought they were going to meet and the way you look to what you actually look like. And
Well
they're going to be
said.
like, whoa. And immediately we have that first impression has changed. And now we have an uphill battle instead of coming from and here's another rule I want everybody to listen to. If you're a guest speaker at an event, or if you're giving a presentation, or if you're in a room where you have to pitch an idea and hope that somebody buys from you, you don't want to be so much more, better looking and best dressed. You kind of want to be just a little bit more, but you still got to be that little bit more. And the new professional consumer has pretty high standards because these girls want to look snatched and like they are it girls. So if they're coming to somebody who they don't think is an it girl, whatever that means to them, everybody has different styles, fine. But that is going to be a major disconnect. And we're going to just see that show up in retention rates. So it may not be this thing where you're getting bad reviews or, uh, bad feedback. It's just going to be the silent ghosting thing that happens where the person's just not coming back. So I just want to add that. And I
Very well
agree
said.
percent. Let's dive into being on time because I'm really look, you kind of ride or die by your standards and you said look, we hire on values, like this is non-negotiable. So already the right person's gonna have that kind of right mindset tied to attitude and whatnot. What else do you want owners to know about how to really make that just a standard across the board?
So first and foremost, if someone's late to the interview, they don't get hired. It's amazing how many people show up late to the interview. And that's leading with the wrong person. Um, Being on time matters because we sell time, and we know that if a stylist is showing up late, usually if they care, they show, oh, they're flustered, then they come in, they run in, they put their bag down, and their guests may be waiting. Now, here's the truth: if we start at 9 o'clock and our stylists are showing up at 9:04, that guest has been super excited to see you. They book 3 weeks in advance, they book a month in advance, they've heard great things about you, they had a bad experience from the last guest, or they've already seen you a couple of times and are ready to see you. They don't usually walk in the last minute at 9 o'clock. They've been waiting to see you and they're excited. They're there at 8:50. So for the guest, you're actually 14 minutes late. You're not 4 minutes late. And
Wow.
that shows, and we never thought about that because we were like, I'm only a couple minutes late. No, you're not. Well, it actually matters on how the person feels, right? Maya Angelou, I'm very, very big on her. It's not what she says. The quote says, people will not remember what you said or what you did, but how you made them feel. That's why we sell an experience.
Mm.
And so that guest is already, you're setting yourself up for failure when you're showing up late for that guest. And the guest now knows that you have less time to service them because there's an allotted time of a blow dry of an hour or cut and blow, whatever it is. And so they feel like you're going to be rushing. That doesn't make the guest feel good. And if there's a guest afterwards and you feel like you're rushing and stuff, it's not a good experience. So we have to make sure that showing up time. So how, to leaders who are listening to this, how can we set our team up for success? Every single morning, every single day that we're open, we're now open 6 days a week. We used to be open 7, but we decided to shift and give us opportunity to do class education on Mondays. So we close on Mondays. Is we do a huddle every single morning at 8:47. And a huddle allows for us to connect, to start off the morning on positivity, what are our personal good news or goals. I'm not going to get into that. But what I've done now also is that we have to be there for huddle. If they are still late at 8:47 and they're 3, 4, 5 minutes late, they're still there for 9 o'clock for their guest. So even though I don't want them to be late for huddle, almost no one's showing up late for their guest anymore at 9 o'clock. So I had to set my team up for success by changing the perspective and narrative of, you have to be here by 9. You have to be here by 8:45, 8:47 for our huddle, but now you're going to be here for your guests. So as leaders, Sometimes we need to have that one-on-one coaching with tardiness, but also explaining why it's important, but setting them up for success by showing them they have to be there earlier.
Love that. I'm all about communication. It's the premise
Yes.
of marketing, so it's my main jam. When you bring up kind of how you tie the consultation with education together, what would be like the main takeaway for listeners today in regard to like, hey, this is going to lead to you being a six-figure booker?
Consultation, consultation, consultation. That is the most important part about the entire guest journey and experience for success. The guest is loves the most, I guess, is the shampoo experience. But for us to be successful and to make sure that our guests are heard, right? I heard this once a long time ago that women want to be heard and understood, and men want to be appreciated and respected. And if a woman feels like she's being heard and valued, then that comes from the consultation of asking the right questions and diving deeper, and that allows you to understand the desired end results better by having a better consultation. So if you're going to focus on anything of this whole conversation, work on your consultation, learn the appropriate skills and the appropriate questions to make sure it's the best that it can be. In turn, the end result will net you positive results for client retention, for sure. One other thing about communication is we have to educate our guest. Tell them the journey of what we're going to do today. Keep them in part of the process, right? And let them know what you're using. I'm very big on my 3 Ws: what, when, and why. What are you using? Why are you using it? When to use it? Like products. You don't need to sell them anything. You just tell them what you're using, and it will just net a positive result of, oh, wow, what were you using? Oh, my God, I love my hair. Great. What hairspray did you use for this hold? This one I showed you. Okay, let's grab that one. So when it comes to communication, effective communication will lead to better results. And that's consultation, and educate your guests on what you're using. Teach them how to use a curling iron. As much as we do it with our eyes closed, guests don't necessarily know the skills and they didn't go to school for it. So when we can teach them how to do something never done before, you're their hero. Teach them how to do their hair at home. They're going to be your walking billboard.
Love it. Okay.
Um, Consistency.
Consistency. And, across the whole board, this takes the whole group, not just the six-figure booker. Like it really is a team effort to deliver consistency. What is the way that you go about it that helps empower your stylist to get those six-figure bookings?
When you get into a routine, we all have routines, right? So, hopefully everyone brushes their teeth in the morning, but there's a particular order you probably do it in, right? Like when I get up, I usually use the restroom, right? And then I take my pre-workout and I go to the gym, and then I come back, I make breakfast, right? And then I brush my teeth and I get in the shower. Like I kind of do it in that order, and that's my routine. So as stylists, we have a routine, whether we realize it or not, whatever that is. It's, do you have the consultation first? Do you get them shampoo? Do you put the cape on? Do you put the towel on or not the cape? Like we have a routine. So being consistent, setting yourself up for success, is making sure that you are present and start analyzing yourself. What does my routine look like? And am I being consistent with every single guest? And am I giving my best experience consistently to every single guest? And so in order for us to be a six-figure booker, I've learned a long time ago, a client is not a client unless they come see you 3 times, right? They have to be the retention. They have to see you 3 times. Why is that? I don't know, but let's think about it ourselves. Is there a restaurant? Ask yourself, is there a restaurant you love going to? We all say yes, right? I love going to Tap 42, right? It's not a shout out to them, but they have chicken lettuce wraps. And so I have this expectation that they have these chicken lettuce wraps. And every time I go there, I know the price and I know the value for the money of exchange that I'm going to receive, and the caliber of the food is consistently good. It's exactly the same. I've been there 100 times. Were they perfect every single time? No, they were not. But I'll tell you what, the first 3 times I went, they were really good. So am I willing to go back a 4th time? Yes. Now, consistently in our salon, if we give a great experience the first time, and the second time we're kind of late and we're kind of rushing and we're not really, talking about our problems, that person may not come back and see you a 3rd time. They may. If you come back a 3rd time and you're not that good, they're definitely never going to see you again. But if you knock it out of the park for the first 3 times because you're consistently giving the great experience to every single guest, you can have a mess up, but they still know that they're going to get value in the experience. So consistency is key of giving the right experience all the time to every single guest. They're your VIP. It's like if you and I, Katie, were to go to see the circus, the ringmaster should come out wearing his tie and his hat or whatever, and they should have the, the clowns. They have to get the popcorn's got to be fresh. It needs to be the same for every single person. If it's kind of all over the place, you're never going to grow because you have to be consistently the same. But you can also be consistently bad if you're not paying attention, which will not, your habits of consistently being late, not looking the part, having a bad attitude, that's not going to help you grow. So make sure the consistency is in a positive manner.
I think my takeaway that I love that you brought up is routine, because I like to habit stack my life and everything's a ritual. And so I
Yes.
think that's really tangible for our stylists, because if they do these same things just over and over and over, it's just going to become habitual, and then they don't have to think about it anymore. So I really love that. I love that you brought that away, or brought that takeaway up. And diving into skills is kind of the sixth key to getting to six-figure booking. That is huge because it's tied to being able to deliver results. At the end of the day, not only do our clients need to love us and feel appreciated and that they do have that consistent experience, but we actually have to give them what they want. And so, talk to me about what you do to empower your team to deliver great results and have that elevated skill set.
Our industry is built on change, because if somebody didn't want to change their hair, they'd get one service and they never have to come back again. But we change hair color, we change style. There's new techniques, there's new products, there's new tools, right? I mean, the curling iron, right? That's a newer invention. It wasn't from all the past, right? And so we need to develop our skills consistently to be able to deliver to the changes in our industry. And so investing in yourself, I have a bookshelf here. I'm very big on spending the money on my knowledge to be able to be the best presenter and supporter and coach that I can be. And as stylist, if you only learn 4 products, that you're not going to be able to use those 4 products to every single guest, because we have all different hair types and textures and coil patterns. And so we need to learn as much as we can and continually to learn. In my salon, if I make mandatory classes, then they make sure I'm paying them because I'm mandatory having to be there. But we offer any class in salon is free, but any outside education, if one of my stylists says, "Hey Justin, there's an extension class for $200, I'd love to go," we pay 50% and they pay 50% because they have to have some skin in the game too. And so their encouragement of the continually education of the new techniques, I mean, look at extensions. They've got beads, eye tips. They've got the tape. They've got weft. They've got all these things I don't even know anymore. And so we as stylists have an obligation to continue to elevate. And whether you're doing here for 5 years or 20 years or 30 years, we can't just settle in and be like, I know everything. Then you're slowly going to die, because the only way to coast is down, right? Coasting down. So we need to continue to evolve and learn new things and practices, especially with social media and TikTok and all these different technologies and these AI now, which we can utilize and dive into for support to help elevate our salons, but also our stylists.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
Well, okay, so you've given us so many great tools, perspectives, and even this framework of these are 6 ways to become a six-figure booker. I really hope everyone listening not only goes and checks out your website, follows you on Instagram. We have those links in our show notes. But before we're done today, Justin, because we're going to see all these amazing people that are listening today in a couple weeks at Salon today, Data Driven Salon Summit, what would be, just really to summarize, final words of encouragement or wisdom at the end of the day, if you do this one thing that's going to impact your team and help them be six-figure bookers, what would that be?
Um, Developing a strong culture is actually what I'm going to be speaking about. As a keynote speaker there, culture, developing the right people and the right team will help empower your teams to reach levels of success that you can never imagine. And that culture is created intentionally. And I'm going to dive more into that. But as leaders who's listening culture, in addition, even if you're just a booth renter, what does your culture look like on the experience that you're offering your guest? Because of if you have an assistant or you have a coworker who works with you, culture determines how successful you can be based on the feeling of the experience that we get when we come into your establishment. So I would leave with, be intentional with creating your culture for sure.
Love it. And I love that we finally did this, and I can't wait to see you in person and your
Yeah, thank you.
schnazzy suits. It's so
I'll have a new
wonderful.
one. I'll have a different one. I'll make sure I wear a different one on stage.
Amazing. Well, thank you for being with me today, Justin. And you are passionate. You bring tons of value to our industry. I just appreciate you really, really a lot for being here. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity. It was so nice. I really enjoyed this.
Me too. And thank you all for joining us here week after week. If you appreciate this podcast, we would love it if you could take a moment to leave us a 5-star review wherever you're listening so that more people like yourself will discover Beyond the Technique, where we're here to change the way that you are supported in your business. Until next time, have an awesome day and stay strong.